G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we are on Sunken Lands to watch two incredibly talented players face off on the ranked ladder. Of course, this is the new expansion pack, the Dynasties of the East. So we've got some brand new civilizations for us today. Spawning in the south of the map, playing as the Macedonian dynasty, the Byzantine variant. In the color green, we've got Driver. And on the south, or rather, on the north side of the map, in the color purple, playing as the English variant, we've got Lord Voldemort, aka Daimyo. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Casted Game. A pleasure to have your company on this map. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this biome, but one of the things I will say is it looks absolutely gorgeous when we don't have all of this snow. Have a look at how nice it looks over in this corner here. I've played this map a couple of times in ranked, and every single time I'm looking down at the corners, I get very excited. So yeah, it's a good looking map. Anyway, we've got an interesting opening coming out from Driver here today. Take a look at this. Not something that you typically see out of the Macedonians because these are expensive farms and you don't really gain anything from having them. I guess one of the things that he's probably already thinking about is heading into the Grand Winery. It just makes sense for him to be doing that by going into the Grand Winery. He's already got these farms down. If he knows he's going to be putting them down, it's a good way that you can sort of double down into the landmark. So that's my suspicion as to how he looks to play this out. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, let's see if we can find anything out about the way that Daimyo is playing. It looks like a bit of a standard opening here today. 3 on gold, 7 on food. Of course, these villagers do gather food a little bit faster. Now, I've seen some complaints about balance. People saying that House of Lancaster are actually even better than what they were before. It's a dangerous thing to say about such lords, let's just put it that way. But anyway, basically it means that when you come to selecting your landmarks, there's really only one choice, the Abbey of Kings. You just don't need the Lancaster Castle because you're really not focusing that much on menas. So what's the point in having the Lancaster Castle if I don't need to do musters? Because I don't need to do musters because there's no point in doing it because it's too expensive to do it and justify having all those menas. So people naturally go into the Abbey of Kings, and that's what we see here today. And that means that you're always going to have these higher health units because you've got that bonus to the from the lords. So that's the first component of it. The second one is the fact that you get a lot more out of a single mana, right? If we think about what you used to get out of a single mana, it was good because you could get 9 of them and that was great. Whereas now you just need 1 mana and that's it. Just 1 mana will be able to cover all of this region here. Maybe not all of this region here, but the idea is simple. A lot less investment of resources into your economy, but yet you're still getting that incredible reward. So we'll look to see exactly how Voldemort plays it today, aka Daimyo. And of course, keep in mind, I will leave a link in the description to where you can watch him live over on Twitch. He is streaming all the damn time, so make sure you go say g'day from us, because I tell you what, this is going to be a good game. I'm confident. Daimyo is a very good player. Both of these guys are Conqueror 3 players. Plenty of sheep back here as well. He's picked up 16 sheep, which is a huge amount. Let's check in with his opponent and see how he's doing, because he's got the scout that's out here. Where are all the sheep? He's found 4. Not a good time to be a Macedonian enjoyer, we'll say that much. Anyway, Grand Winery is going to be coming down. As we predicted, it's in this beautiful little spot that he's got here, nestled between the town center and the berries together with the farms. And I kind of like this opening. It makes a fair bit of sense. If you're thinking about going into the Grand Winery, why not? Why not go for these early farms? It's one of those things where it's like you're just going to get a great return on investment over the course of the game. One thing to note is I'd love to see these sheep brought up to this corner though, because when we think about the Grand Winery, as you can see here, this is the radius of it. It gives that 30% bonus to food, and these sheep down here are not going to be influenced by that, or the villagers are not going to have that influence. So one thing to keep in mind. Anyway, let's check in on the other side of the map. How is Daimyo doing up here? Expect to see perhaps a mana thrown down here on the woodline, so opting to utilize it in replacement of the lumber camp that we would typically see here. Bit of a double-edged sword, just because you can't get your double broadaxe upgrade straight away. And have a look at how many workers he's got doing this. These guys have all got wood. He's going to hand in a huge amount right there. There we go. And now you can see this beautiful positioning. Absolutely incredible positioning here on this mana. So this single mana here, if we take a look at it, how many vills are actually within this? You've got 3, 15, 19 vills. Daimyo's got 19 vills. Every single one of his villagers is covered by this mana. And that's essentially it, right? Because the redesign to the mana in the sense that you now generate food and wood from each nearby villager, it's a huge benefit to have this, just only the single mana in the early game. And when you've got a beautiful spot like this where it's covering both the gold, covering the wood, covering the TC, and he's also technically covering the berries. This is a giga spawn for these early game positions. So it means he's going to be generating, like, keep in mind, this is still not after a full minute. This is going to go up once again next time this triggers, so he's up to 85-38. It's a huge amount of resources that is coming through right here, equivalent to about 3 villages at this stage, but probably going to go up to about 4. Anyway, let's check in with Driver, see how he's doing, what the game plan is for him, and seeing exactly which gear he looks to play this one out in. Quite a few villages here on wood. One thing to note, Varangian stronghold in the back of the base. Interesting so far. Nothing out of the ordinary. We do have some specialized pick coming through. Actually, that's kind of out of the ordinary. We don't always see specialized pick come through particularly early. He's also picked up horticulture. A nice early eco opening here. The lords are starting to build, though. Spots out 2 of the lords of Lancaster standing nearby, standing on guard, just waiting. Now, for me, the big question is how soon are we going to see players head up to Castle Age? Because both players have got an incentive to get to Castle Age. Mainly on the south side, we're thinking about relics, right? The Grand Winery, the ability to train the monk, the ability to store relics inside. That's a huge component of this civilization. Meanwhile, Daimyo, oh my lord, Daimyo on the other side, just casually throwing down 4. I mean, this is only House of Lancaster things, right? Like, I want to talk about the new civs, but at the same time, I want to talk about the changes to the House of Lancaster, because this civilization is kind of crazy. Do you know of any other civilizations 6 minutes into the game who can justify just throwing down 4 production buildings at once? Well, with the House of Lancaster, the good news is you can do that because you've got just a ridiculous amount of resources coming through right now. Look at this. You're talking about 180 resources per minute coming through, which is more than it's basically 5 villages, I guess, if we talk about wood gathering and or wood distances. So it's a huge amount of villages that's coming through off a single mana. So he's definitely going to have a strong early game here, and we do see double spears now going to be produced, as well as double hobbler in this early game. So we'll be looking to put the pressure on. We're 7 minutes through the game now, and the lords are making their way across the map. He's going to clear out the wolves as he does it, just to make sure that he's not dealing with that annoying sound constantly throughout the game. The early Varangian guards are coming out as well. Now keep in mind they've got 4 armor, 4 melee armor, which is particularly potent against units that have got low amounts of damage, like your spear with 8 damage, like your hobbler with 7 damage. They're only going to be doing 3 damage and 4 damage a pop against these Varangian guard. Now keep in mind, we've also got the buttered chain mail that's coming through, which sounds absolutely delicious, except for the fact that it's not buttered, it's buttered, which means that they specifically put the chainmail on the butt. That's not really why it's called that. Anyway, he's going to be going up to 5 armor here, which just further decreases the power of these melee units here. Now, of course, we got the Lords of Lancaster. The Lords of Lancaster have got 16 damage, and they will absolutely cut through the armor of the Varangian guards. And we can see them now towards the front here. Need to be cautious about how they choose to engage. More Varangian guards moving up towards that north side. You can see Driver looking to drive home quite a nice little attack here. We got lots of different puns that we can make with his name. You know, we can do car-related stuff. We can do golf-related stuff. We can do a lot of different things for his name. So I'm excited. I think this cast is probably going to be filled with puns. So we'll have to wait and see what gear he looks to shift it into to determine whether or not we go for the car puns or whether we look to hit one straight down the fairway. Anyway, it's going to be rare that we see that, though. It's not. We're getting our fairways. We're hitting them all the time. But have a look at this right here. Unfortunately, the Varangian guards, they've got their extra armor through, but it's not really going to make much of a difference. That extra, or that huge amount of damage coming through from the Lords is very, very potent. And you can see not a lot of damage being done here. Expect him to return back to the Abbey. Of course, we love the Abbey because it provides that nice little healing bonus. So as long as he's able to get out, he'll be absolutely fine. But check back towards the base and look at the amount of damage that these Varangian guards are taking. It's a huge amount of armor that they've got. And because of that, it means that these forces back home, they really don't do too much. So it means now, underneath the town center, that the villagers are going to have to retreat away from the manor. Daimyo scrambling to defend here. Back on the other side of the map, the guards, rather the Varangian guards, are being repelled. Now, we don't really see any diversity when it comes to economy yet. Nothing too crazy. No second TCs being thrown about. No additional manors being put down. Just the single manor at this stage. And that's about what you would expect. I don't think you would expect any more than that, because he's completely covered. beautiful spot on this manor as well. Covers pretty much the entirety of this wood line, so it is very nice. I think the one thing I'd like to see changed for the manor is just a counter for how many villages are currently within its influence. I'd love to see that, you know, the same way that you get that that nice little count. By the way, have a look at, oh, he's popped the berserking. Oh, makes total sense here. Gets extra damage to cut through the armor of the lords. Oh, that is such a smart move. I didn't even think about that as an option to deal with these units here, and obviously Driver has definitely done that here today. So yeah, I think that's one of the nice little changes that they could make with regard to the manors, is just like a counter for villages, the same way like the High Trade House has a counter for trees, as an example. I guess the other thing to note is it's a variable thing, right? It's happening or it's not. But I guess that would be easy to determine, because you just look at the buff and you'd be like, okay, well, how many villages are being applied the mana income at every interval? That's what we'd be looking at, and you could just track that number. So hopefully we see that change. We've got ourselves another runestone being placed down. Keep in mind, these runestones provide a little bit of extra damage, quite a bit of extra movement speed as well. And underneath the town center, that speed is going to be exceptionally valuable. But of course, this is no normal town center. This is a Lancastrian town center with that extra bow, that extra arrow, rather. I mean, technically, you probably need an extra bow to fire an extra arrow. So I'll allow that one to pass here. Let's check in over on the west side, over on the east side. Neither player making a move towards these positions just yet, which is, I guess the games I've been playing Sengoku quite a bit. And there's typically a move that's coming out towards those locations, just because you've got your little yatai running around everywhere. Meanwhile, back at home, we'll ride on board with Driver for a bit. He's got the Varangian arsenal down. We see it's affecting the town center, also affecting the mining camp that he's got here. 76 passive silver being generated, and he is just really spamming the Varangian guard. And I like this. I like this a lot. I think this just makes sense, right? You could just go absolutely hardcore on the Varangian guard here. There's a lot of incentive to do this. When we think about the upgrades that you've got, he hasn't even looked at picking up the second tier upgrades just yet, but I would be looking to move into that second level of armor as soon as I possibly could. Arguably, it's better to go into 1 or 2 levels of armor before you actually go into the attack, just primarily because you've got that berserking option. You can always look to pop that berserking if you so choose. But now the yeoman number starting to build here as the Kairos is going to start to work down the first of the houses of Lancaster. Of course, there are many houses of Lancaster, but today, this house in particular is the one that's going to be sieged down. Yeoman doing a decent job of kiting out. We can have a look at the health on these Varangian guards. We don't have smart bars turned on, apparently. You would typically think that we would, but I guess it's decided to turn itself off. Anyway, Yeoman probably going to need to invest in that +1 attack, and we see it now coming through. Definitely the right call for Daimyo here. If we have a look at the comparison between these two, you can see he's sitting at 3 armor at the moment. So going to go up to 4 armor against 5 damage on the Yeoman. So that extra 1 point of damage from the Yeoman going from 5 to 6, effectively going to give him double damage, which is really important. You want to make sure you've got that little bit of extra damage to help you out here. But fortunately, +2 is going to be coming through after +1. So he will have a little brief period here where he's got that extra bit of damage against these units. Let's check back in over on that west side, though, and see how the Kairos is doing as it begins working down additional buildings here. We've got the mining camp that's going to be going down as well. He's got a second one over towards the west side. Keep in mind, these villages will not be getting buffed up by the mana here. Varangian guards just starting to eat into the economy of Daimyo here. He's lost 4 villages. Meanwhile, over towards that east side, do we have berserking? We don't have the berserking just yet. I think it would be quite a loss. Against these units, I don't think berserking makes sense, because keep in mind, with berserking, you used to get that bonus movement speed. I don't know where it went. I don't know what happened to it, but I think in this situation, you would definitely want to avoid it. You want to just really make sure these yeomen are staying on the run, and that's exactly what they're doing. By the way, look at the amount of production that's back here. Daimyo is set up for the next 10 minutes. He has got production covered, that is for sure. But the question on my mind is, how does he defend this? Because this aggression from Driver has been very nice. It kind of takes me back to the OG days of the Holy Roman Empire. I remember watching Holy Roman Empire mirrors back in the beta, and the question on my mind was like, how do you defeat men-at-arms? Like, this civilization's got age 2 men-at-arms, and what beats them? And, you know, very quickly we worked out, well, you just make lots of units and you're able to cut through them, and if you micro well, you'd be okay. You just focus down each unit one by one. And that definitely seemed to work quite well here. And we can see that we've got that same methodology coming out here for Daimyo today. The trouble that he's got is this mass continues to build. Not only that, but we've also got a bit of a transition. A stable has gone down somewhere on this map over towards the east side. Oh my god, a triple stable has gone down. And that's definitely a smart move. The only trouble I will say right now is he's shown his hand a little bit early here, Driver, by showing these horsemen before they reach their critical mass, has revealed to his opponent what he's doing. And because of that, now Daimyo just says, okay, I'm just going to start making spears. Or at least he should say, I'm going to start making spears. Mainly because these horsemen will be the end of him if he's not cautious about how he plays this defense. Yeoman going to continue moving away. 2 spears out at the moment. Not sure exactly where they are. There we go. We spot them underneath the town center. They're going to go down quite quickly here. And now on the defense, Daimyo once again underneath the town center. It is a relentless attack that is happening in this game. The Lords are also going to be there to help defend, but keep in mind, while they're very strong with regard to their stamina, not particularly effective at dealing with those horsemen the same way that spears are. Hobbler's now going to be coming out as well for Daimyo here in this situation, and Driver being driven away from the House of Lancaster base. Quite a bit of resources stacked up for both of these players. We'll switch it over to income per minute, get an idea on where these two economies stand against each other, how they stack up. Meanwhile, on the south side, we've got a big transition that's happening, a huge farm transition. Now, normally I would be against this type of farm transition, but you got to remember, this is a different type of farm transition. This is a plus 30% farm transition on top of a horticulture that's already been researched. He's got the wheelbarrow as well. He has got a huge Macedonian economy happening here in the feudal age, and I love it. I'm all for it. You've got to be cautious about going too far away from the Grand Winery. I think you definitely want to make sure you get, I think it's 32 farms that you can get in total. Maybe it's 36, 32, 36. No, it's 20 on the second ring and 12 on the first ring. I remember because I specifically was like measuring exactly how I'd want to do it. So basically, you want to build the first ring, you want to build the second ring, and then you want to build mills on the outside, technically in the third ring, so that they can drop off to those locations. Meanwhile, horsemen, wolves, and the Lords getting involved, but you can see just how little damage they take. The Lords are particularly strong, and I think that's another thing to note. The Lancaster on defense together with their Abbey just guarantee that you're going to have a really good time trying to defend, because you're always going to be able to run back and heal. And now we can see that runestone being put down, a little bit of extra movement speed here as the horsemen make it around to the top side. No spears here to defend. Daimyo up to 4 spears, but the yeoman getting a little bit caught out of position. You can see he's going to try and split damage here. Does the attack move back? Should be able to get the next one shot on this horseman. He's running up towards the north of the map. Fortunately, he's got a little bit of a way through, and the kiting continues. These units, he's looking to focus down. Oh, the Varangian guards have dropped their armor, and because of that, he's able to basically snipe them out here. So you really got to add up the question or the decision. Which way do you go? Do you try and take out the horseman, which is going to be doing damage and catching you, or do you want to take out the Varangian guard, which has dropped its guard and is now going to be looking to try and take you out? But in this situation, Daimyo, his micro has been impeccable. He has applied quite a bit of attention to detail over on that east side. Meanwhile, we've got fights on fronts, multiple fronts here, as he finally makes it back to the town center. Impressive that he's been able to do this. Look at the control that comes out. Villagers going to be forced back underneath the town center. Vilcount still looking relatively healthy. He has lost 8, but keep in mind he's got the mana that is going to be assisting him, boosting him up, which is definitely not going to be reflected on that count at the top of your screen. White Tower now going to be thrown down. Does this get scouted out by Driver? I don't know whether or not this got scouted out by Driver. I would suspect it probably hasn't at this stage, but we do see Age-ups coming through at almost identical timing. System of the first hill going to be coming up for him, so not opting for the crossbows. Now, we did see in the previous game that we watched Lord Voldemort, I'll call him Lord Daimyo, why not? That works. We did see him actually playing as the Macedonians and instead opting for the crossbow landmark. So a little bit of difference of opinion here between these two Conqueror 3 players. I'm curious to see exactly how Driver is going to send it home today, but we'll keep paying attention as Daimyo now ages up, and of course looking to really leverage the power here of his infantry. One of the key things to note is that we are going to be very much playing into that extra damage of the House of Lancaster and the damage that they get from these keeps. Expect to see them dotted around the map. Castle Age comes through now for Driver as well. Where does he look to throw his splooshes out? Let's have a look and see. He splooshes on a stable. Where else are you going to sploosh today? It looks like he's still got a couple splooshes in here. Do we see any additional splooshes that have come through? There's another sploosh. He throws it on the Varangian arsenal. Oh, we hear more splooshes. The second Varangian arsenal. He's looking to really speed up those upgrades. Veterancy on the horseman. That's the reason why he's splooshing all over the... that word. I can't believe they did sploosh. I mean, you know what? It's probably one of the best words that you could have gone with in that situation. It's definitely, you know... it gives, I can see the action, the sploosh. sorry, it's a bit gross. It's a bit gross. You know what else is gross? My drink today. I mean, I'm normally a fan of like these sugar-free drinks. I'm not gonna say it's gross. It's a good drink. I got one of these sugar-free, what is it called? The vinegar, you know, the apple cider vinegar. I got one of those drinks. It's quite nice. I shouldn't say it's gross. It's not gross. Give me a second right here. It's not gross. I mean, it's gross if you've been drinking Red Bull for a week. I'll say that right now. But we now have a little bit of an attack to the back. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. Okay, there we go. A little bit of an attack to the back. 8 villagers have already gone down in this game on the side of Daimyo. And it looks like Driver is trying to find out whether or not he can find additional Vil kills. Gets just the 2. And now forced away, the horsemen make their way to the north. Oh, this could be bad for Daimyo. He's got a quick wall coming up over towards the west of the position. Driver looks, he spots that Vil, and he makes his way over towards the area. Manages to get the wall up in time. Needs to make sure he taps this wall just a couple more times. Oh, have we got a way through? We don't have a way through on the north, so very well done by Daimyo to spot that this was going to be happening. Meanwhile, repelling all of the infantry away with his main army. And look at the yeoman number here. He's got the veterancy that's come through, so that extra damage is going to be definitely helping out quite a bit here. Meanwhile, up towards that top side, the horsemen do finally make it through, but the villagers have well and truly escaped. And he is a happy camper here. This is a beautiful map. I tell you what, for the House of Lancaster and the English, you got so much wood to the back of your base. It just feels incredible. It's like dry Arabia on steroids, man. It is just, look at these wood lines. We have got huge amounts of wood lines that are just very, very safe. Feels very good. In the end, all the Varangians taken out. And Driver now in a bit of an awkward position. Hold on, I just got to fix up my... Speaking of position, I got to fix up my microphone. I got a new microphone stand. I can't remember if I told you guys. I got a new microphone stand, and it works a little bit differently from the way my previous one does. So sometimes I like to adjust my mic around when I'm casting, and I have to like push my hand out and really, I got to adjust it quite a bit. It's not as easy as the old one, but I like the aesthetics of this one, and that's what matters, right? It's not about function, it's about looks. Anyway, let's check back in on the other side of the maps. No second TCs coming up yet for either player here. 67 villagers on the side of Driver, 58 villagers, rather 59 on the side of Daimyo. And quite a big force beginning to come through. Now the question is, how does Driver stop this from connecting? Because this is a large army, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Daimyo opt for some form of siege on the front. Perhaps something like battering rams as an option for him. Has he picked up siege engineering? We'll check in with his blacksmith back home. We don't have siege engineering coming through just yet, but I think it's probably a viable option in this situation. You could absolutely, with an infantry mass like this, look to try and go for a conversion. At the very least, put some pressure on towards these landmarks. Meanwhile, in the back of the base, Spear's able to pick up the horsemen. We've lost this manor, we've lost the walls, the gates, but the relics are starting to get picked up. 2 relics in favor of Driver, 3 relics. Sorry, 3 relics in favor of Driver, 2 relics in favor of Daimyo. So a little bit of an advantage going over to the Macedonian dynasties here. But once again, the yeomen in a bit of an awkward spot. The horsemen are trailing them quickly here. Wolf getting involved in the action. He's got a way through. As long as he's able to one-shot these horsemen, he'll be okay. Let's see whether or not he's able to do it. He can't make the connections, and you can see the horseman not even looking to attack. He's trying to get into the mass so that he can get a beautiful surround, and that's exactly what he wants. Really try and upset this army. He's going to try and make it out. You can see the yeomen, how quick they go. 1.31 movement speed. I got to disagree with that. That looked like 2.7 movement speed, the way those little legs were shuffling. And now, continuing to kite away, we've got our monk getting involved with some healing. Lords on the front as well, going to try and hold this army up. Where did the rest of the Varangians go? They've fallen off a little bit to the back. The Bogman is here as well, going to try and provide a bit of cover. But the yeoman mass looking incredible. And I'm going to be honest with you, those horsemen died quickly. I did not expect those horsemen to fall the way that they did. Now, Radari also going to be coming out, gets taken out quickly. And we've got ourselves a little bit of yeoman action as they fire down their arrows. Not a whole lot of damage, unfortunately, for them, and the Lords continue. We have had non-stop action throughout this game, just constant back and forth, and exactly what you'd expect from a guy like Daimyo. Incredibly talented when it comes to the control of the army, and we now see another runestone thrown in on the west side of this army. Yeomen, just look at them. They're so speedy, dude. They are so quick. We hear more of those Lords going down. Meanwhile, we've also got condensed land practices coming through, so looking to expand out those mana networks, improve the number that he's got across the map. Back towards the base. Knight's going to get picked off, or at least going to get found out here. Veterancy coming through on the spears. Relic moving up. I don't know what the plan is with this relic here. What are you doing with this relic? He's bringing it out to this position. And then after he's brought it to that position, then he's going to bring it across over towards this spot. Then he's going to capture the sacred site, all while holding the relic. I think there must have been a little bit of shenanigans going at home with the Grand Winery. Actually, you know what's happened? He's probably picked up the relic that was inside here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. Oh, hey, buddy. How you doing? I'm in the middle of a cast right now, and I've got a little friend that's just joined in. Hey, bud. Long time no see. At least in the casting booth. Hey, bud. You going to put some pants on today, or... All right. Commando it is. Commando it is. Good luck, little guy. I think they're going outside to play. Which is interesting because they're having a bit of a cry right now. But we got our door open, so I suspect this will not be the last time we hear or see from those boys. They are fun. Yeah, he's got no pants on at the moment because he's doing potty training. So basically, that's from what I've read. You just basically they don't have pants, which is, you know, we can all aspire to that sort of potty training life, but unfortunately, yeah, it's a little bit harder when you got to go out in public. Anyway. Sacred site now being captured here by Driver. Looking to slowly move across the map here. He's got that second relic. It has been deposited. Did he end up... Where's that third relic? Is the third relic still out here? Because he's carrying a relic somewhere. There it is. Okay, he's brought it back. He's finally realized. Yeah, so there's a bit of an issue. Not an issue, but like there's a bug that sometimes occurs where basically you tell your monk to go and grab a... Oh, that's probably what it was. Let's say there was a relic right here. You tell your first monk to come out and grab it, and like you issue the command from the Grand Winery, and you're like, hey, go grab this relic, and then go grab this one over here. But then you forget, and if you make a second monk, it will come out, and then it will go to that relic spot. Big villager kills. It'll go to that relic spot, and then unfortunately, there's no relic there, so it returns home, and its next command is to right-click on the Grand Winery. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go pick up a relic from the Grand Winery. Why not? So I think that's probably what's happened. And then, you know, obviously... He wasn't sending it. He wasn't sending out the tribute to the god. Beautiful walls that we got coming up. Look at this, the single archer just on the edge of the map here. Going to try and find connections with these villagers. We'll be able to do it as well. You can see him working it down. I don't know whether or not this wall will get up in the end. There's still technically a way that you could get behind here. I wonder if Demu knows about this, because this is the kind of thing that could lose you a game if you didn't know about this. But don't tell me the archer. If the archer reveals that, imagine if the archer goes around, then Demu can drop it in. But you can see he's kind of exploring it, and he knows now that this is happening. So this is definitely this is one of those cards that I would keep close to my chest, right? Because there's no guarantee that your opponent realizes that that's happening. He might just suspect it's going to be all connected. But now we see Vils going down on the front. Also a bit of a siege onto the monastery here. You can see how quickly it's burning. It's got 2100 health, but it goes down quickly. Demu on the defense. Fires off towards the back line. Finds decent connections there. About 7 archers going down. Relics on the ground. More and more units starting to build up here, and we head into the cinematic mode as Demu decides to... Well, not decides to defend. He's got to defend. Driver, he's definitely looking like he's in pole position today as he slowly pulls apart the forces of Demu. Horsemen and Radari moving up towards the north. We'll keep an eye on them as the Lords do their best to defend towards the front. Radari come back through. More Varangians looking to join the battle here. We'll have to check in on the upgrades, but I tell you what, Demu looks like he could be in trouble. Lord number is starting to take a toll here. I think I can see 3. No, I take it back. I see 4. Never mind. The Lord number remains. Oh, he's going for a snipe. He's going to pick up the relics. There's 1. He loses it. He loses it. But hey, nice try. Nice try. You got to respect a man who goes for that kind of snipe. He absolutely could have picked them up if he just waited a little bit longer. You can see right now, if he'd been in position, maybe right here, you could push up towards this angle. He goes for a second. Can you believe we've got a second volley that comes in the same fight and manages to hit that back line once again? But unfortunately, the crossbows, together with the yeomen, way too strong in this situation, and Driver is forced away from the putting green with, unfortunately, a bogey, maybe a double bogey. Looking at the way this is going, it could be worse. It could be worse. Meanwhile, towards the back line, 19 villagers lost throughout this game for Demu. He's still got these manners that are kicking, and keep in mind, they've got quite a bit of resource generation that is happening. So definitely, these economies, they might... Look, the economic number at the top of your screen is honest. The question is going to be about whether or not the income is actually matching up with that. We will take a short break right here, as we do mention to you that coming up very soon, in fact, probably in the next, I don't know when you're going to be viewing this, but in the next couple of days, we've got Outback Octagon that is returning, so make sure you check it out, November 19. It's going to be live over on Twitch, and of course, the videos will be uploaded here onto YouTube, but of course, it's more exciting when it's live. You get to see things are always, you know, there's that atmosphere of it being live, and it's happening right there before your eyes. So anyway, link in the description to where you can watch it live. Let's check in with these economies and see how they're doing. Driver at the moment sitting at about 3.2, actually 4.2 thousand resources, 4.2k resources per minute that's coming through. A huge amount of silver also being dropped in here. He's got an option right now. If he wants to go imp, he could absolutely stomp this game with a quick cataphract transition. Could definitely do work for him. Meanwhile, on the side of Daimyo, how's he looking? Oh my lord, nowhere near it. You can see the economic difference between these two. Daimyo sitting at about 3k resources per minute, whereas his opponent sitting at 3.5, yeah, 4.5. So essentially 50% more resources coming through despite only having a 16-17 villager lead. And I guess that's just the power of all of these pieces of the puzzle that are slowly building up. That Macedonian economy is kind of crazy, man. Just how effective you can be, even on the 1TC. Meanwhile, horsemen towards the back of the base. I think it really comes down to this grand winery. I'd love to see just some mills thrown down in that third ring, as I mentioned, just to get a little bit of extra little bit of oomph going for you. I don't know if cataphracts would actually be good here. I'm just thinking out loud. There's a lot of crossbows on the field here. We've got 7 crossbows on the field. He's also got 15 in queue. So he definitely knows what is up. This is part of like my thinking where it kind of makes sense for you to almost lead your opponent astray with regard to your unit choices if you're going to do a tech switch into cataphracts. Because the idea is like if you're going to do a big cataphract tech switch, you would ideally not want your opponent to have spears and not have them have crossbows. And it's like, how do you make them not have spears and crossbows? That makes it very difficult because like those two components to an army are almost considered core by many. So that is problematic. Okay, my wife has just shut the door from the outside, so hopefully we don't have too much of a hassle coming through. And look, Daimyo has realized there was a break-in towards the north, and he's going to very quickly seal that problem as the villagers now make their way to the top side. I suspect he probably thought this could have been closed, or maybe could have been neglected by his opponent. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I think for cataphracts, the timing to really work, you want to avoid your opponent doing this. How do you do that? I mean, you make horsemen, your enemy's going to make spears. You make Varangian guard, your enemy's going to make crossbow. So what units can you really make? Like, unless you're making a whole bunch of spearmen, just sending the unique spearmen in to attack your opponent. Maybe the unique yeah, I mean, you could probably go archer spear, now that I think about it. In the castle age, and to be honest, that wouldn't be terrible. Though I will say that, and this is the trouble, if you make archer spear, neither of those units require gold, and because neither of them require gold, you're not going to be gathering gold, which means that you're not going to be generating silver. So it's kind of this weird thing where it's like you can't necessarily tech switch into it, because like even though that sounds amazing, it's just, I think it's just got to be there to kind of complement the army rather than doing a full tech switch into it, because it's like, as I said, like where do you spend your gold otherwise? I mean, technically you could gather up stone the same way that we see Driver doing at the moment. He's got quite a bit of it coming through for him, and that's going to obviously assist with that silver generation. He's down to 600 silver though, so he's definitely lost that window of opportunity if he wanted to go for that somewhat early Imperial Age. I say somewhat early, we're 32 minutes into the game right now. It's definitely not early, that is for sure. Meanwhile, we hear those yeomen firing off, managing to find a connection with the backside here. Trebs now starting to work their magic as well. Horsemen breaking their way through. And Daimyo doing a wonderful job with the walls. I'll say that right now. The biggest thing, I would say, is just make sure you wall off the front. This is one of those things that I remember I learned early on in Age of Empires 4. I was playing a game on Hill and Dale against GUA. And I'd walled off all the sides. And I had the Barbican sitting at the front. And his knight, at like 5 minutes, just ran past my Barbican and started killing my vills. I was like, you know what? I didn't think of that. And it's like, even if you park your army at the front, the enemy could just run around your army. So you do need those stone walls up no matter what. Sacred sites now both taken by Driver as he looks to potentially win this game through a sacred victory. But we do have an age up on the way. It's going to be the Wingard Palace coming up for Daimyo, and you know exactly what that means. By the way, have a look at this military difference here. We've got a huge difference in militaries. I mean, we've got a huge difference in economies as well. I am thoroughly impressed at how persistent Driver has been. He has just been constantly raiding throughout this game, and it makes it difficult for Daimyo because on one hand, he's got all this space for a big military, and then on the other hand, he doesn't really have an economy, so if he loses the military, things are going to be bad. So that's something we need to be aware of moving forward. Now, what is the positioning on these outposts in the center? I do like this positioning here. Very neutral, but at the same time, like, quite annoying to deal with as we hear some more splooshes going down on the south side of the map. He's looking to pick up some upgrades on those Varangian arsenals. We can see the upgrades starting to come through. 8 minutes and 51 seconds until the Sacred Victory is online. And look at the positioning out here of Driver. He's looking to get very aggressive on these gold veins. I think it's an interesting decision as well to play into the Macedonians on a map that has typically got a little bit less resources out here in the middle. We now start to see those Trebs really looking to fire down here. He's sitting at about 1,000 per minute when it comes to his income on silver. So that'll definitely be helpful in supplementing all of that silver that he's got. Horseman once again potentially looking for a raid. Now, Daimyo's reached Imperial Age. He's sitting at about 200 military pop. Or rather, 200 population. He's going to be looking to add in more spears. So I'm hoping that we see elite spearmen come in soon. That, for me, is going to be the main thing that we need to see. And it's going to be Foreign Engineering Company coming down from Driver on the Macedonians. And I guess this does make sense. A lot of these vehicles do have wheels, and naturally Driver is going to be more inclined to head in that direction. So, you know, we called him Driver. We didn't call him Jockey. If we'd called him Jockey, it probably would have made a little bit more sense moving into, you know, something where there was cavalry involved. But you know, he's a man who likes vehicles. He's a man who likes cars, and we can't fault him for that. Let's check in with the economy of Driver and see how he's doing. He's picked up all of these. Have a look at these upgrades. By the way, no double broadaxe. Is there really no double broadaxe? I mean, he's got only 13 vils on wood. I guess he's really not intent on gathering up wood, and will allow it. Elite Spearman now going to be coming through. Let's see whether or not he's going to be able to find the timing here. Now, keep in mind, we just had some splooshes used for Driver. Ideally, you want to save a couple so that you can pop your elite upgrades and immediately get them through. We see right now he's going for elite Varangian guards here, and it looks like they have been... I don't know whether or not those have been splooshed. I think that's like a 23-second research timing. So I don't know whether or not we've got the sploosh that's come out for that one. Yeah, oh no, we do have a sploosh. I take it back. I take it back. What is it normally? No, it's normally a minute. Yeah, so he's splooshed it down to 24 seconds. Lord's beginning to move forward. A lot of spears here as well. Elite upgrades for the Yeoman not yet seen. Padded Yak coming in as well. Or Padded Jack, I guess you could call it. So a little bit more extra melee armor definitely going to work against all of these Varangian guard now beginning to come through, and we head into the cinematic mode as these two players look to game. Yeoman on the backside, teeing off. Still no elite upgrades. Crossbow also going to be helping out. Plenty of spears. Keep in mind the reinforcements for Daimyo here are going to be very cheap, very effective. He needs to make sure he sticks his army together. Wants to avoid losing out on position. Now, keep in mind that sacred site over towards the east is being neutralized as we speak. So that prospect of a sacred victory slowly begins to move away. What do we got? We got villagers involved right here. Look at this. The dagger's coming out right now. He says, you know what? We got so many vills. And look at the fight. It's just strewn across the battlefield here. Chaos is ensuing here. And Daimyo with still a large mass of Yeoman, and the crossbow numbers still looking good. He's going to continue kiting. You can see how little damage he's able to do to those Varangian guards now that the elite upgrades have come through. The crossbow's fortunately here to help out with the one shot. And there we go. He gets those taps through. Let's check in and see how the numbers are looking for Daimyo. Keep in mind he had that huge army before, down to 142 on the population number. Vil count still down about 40. He's losing Vils as we speak. Oh my lord, he's losing Vils as we speak. Of course, Driver the kind of guy to send a raid in when this battle is happening. Varangian guards just 1A moving down mid, 3.8 thousand silver in the bank. So if he wants to think about moving into upgrades, he definitely can. If he wants to think about potentially going into maybe some siege, well, he can't do that at the moment. Foreign Engineering Company has gone down, so he's going to have to make a different decision as to how he spends all that silver in the bank. But I will say right now, the chase has definitely been a strong one. The trouble is that these units are... I mean, this is the story of the game. Daimyo just kiting with units away from his opponent. The melee units just slowly chasing down the ranged units, but having quite a bit of trouble making the connection. That is for sure. Elite upgrades coming through on the side of Driver as well. It looks like he's upgraded his archers now to those elite status, elite bogmeters that are coming through. I suspect that's still not being pronounced correctly, so I apologize. But we've got more reinforcements coming through from the Wing Guard. We can see he's got the Garrison Command coming through. I tell you what, the Garrison Command is holding up the entire weight of the Imperial Age House of Lancaster. It is just, it's such like... It's not just the landmark, it's just specifically that. It is just the fact that you can spam out spears for so cheap, so affordably, and they're so good. That's the other thing to note. Like, you've got so many upgrades that are going in on these guys. You've got Padded Jack, you've got the Billman upgrade that's also there as well. It's incredible the amount of stuff they got going for them. So it is very nice to have on board. But in the end, it looks like Daimyo does eventually lose his mass of ranged units. He's been run all the way to the edge of the map, all the way to the south side, or to the... How do we say it? Because this is up in the mountains. This is down in the valley here, and you can tell because there's not a whole lot of snow down here. You know what? This kind of reminds me. This is going to be OG. I reckon there's probably going to be 2 people that get this. But back in the day for Age of Empires 3, before the Definitive Edition, there was a map called Green Valley, and that was my favorite map. Basically, think of Dry Arabia, but green. And that was it. Literally, the biome for it looked this same color as green, and I love that map so much. Green Valley was absolutely just the best map. Anyway, I don't know. That's going to be really OG. There's going to be such a small percentage of players who get that. Because that's back in the old days. That's like 2006, 2007. God, that's crazy to think 20 years ago I was playing Age of Empires 3. Oh, man. That just shows how washed up I am. 20 years ago, we were winning tournaments. Now we're just watching people win tournaments. That's all right. I guess that happens with everybody, doesn't it? You know, eventually Hamilton's going to retire, and he'll be in the casting booth as well. That's a little driver reference for you folks out there. Look what we got coming through. Roman fire on the way for our Macedonians. Does he do it? Does he dare do it? Do we dare see a Springwood or 2? I mean, you know what? It's the perfect game for it if you want to think about countering all of these annoying spearmen. By the way, we got no walls down here for driver, so it looks like Daimyo might finally be getting a little bit of magic on his side. But the question's going to be where those Springwoods are, and the answer is going to be right here, baby. Right here. Upgrades are on the way. Has he picked up roller shutter triggers? We'll take a look and see. He should have a siege workshop up towards this position. No roller shutter triggers just yet. No greased axles, so keep an eye out for them. But he has picked up that extra fire, that Byzantine fire we've seen in the late game. This might be the ultimate late game unit. Just the ability to deal with spam very effectively. Able to take out those spears, and we love making... Oh my god. Yeah, it's happening, it's happening. Daimyo going to do a little bit of a runner here. Varangian Guards able to catch. This is exactly when you'd want to pop your berserking. When you're chasing these units. Get that extra little bit of damage in. Maybe drop a runestone or 2. Daimyo, meanwhile, on the other side of the map. By the way, 62 vills for Daimyo. He's lost more villages this game than he has. That is incredible. A huge amount of raiding that's gone through. If he had managed to keep all of those villages alive, he'd be sitting on 120 plus vills, which would be an incredible economy for him. Though I don't know if it would work. Like, sure, 120 vills is nice, but when you're just spamming spears, is it the best idea? I mean, you could probably add in additional units that aren't spears. Maybe that's one of the ways that you could look to try and play it. So, a consideration there. Spears slowly working down these villages as well. We've lost 25 so far this game for driver. And now the question is, how do you go about finishing the game in this position? I feel like you've probably got to get a cohesive push going. He's doing a good job in cleaning up these melee infantry back towards his base. And I think he's just got to make sure that no more of them get past. A lot of archers now moving forward together with the Varangian Guard. A beautiful composition he's got together with the Springwoods in the back. And this is exactly what he needs here. Ideally, we wanted to see him push and try and put the pressure on Daimyo Vills. Managing to do a little bit of damage to the archers, able to pick them off. Well, sorry, I should say archers doing a little bit of damage to the vills, my mistake. But now these Bogmors, Bogmadors moving across the map, looking to try and find a connection with these spears as they try and make their way through once again. Ideally, we want to avoid the unwavering focus just because we're slower for 50% movement speed over 10 seconds. It's not the best when you're looking to chase down an enemy unit. But these spears, of course, continuing on the run here. Expect to see them continue to be annoying. Meanwhile, towards that front. Now, is Daimyo moving into any big-ticket items? We don't really see that at this stage. What have we got with regard to big-ticket items anyway? I mean, realistically, we could continue spamming out crossbow. We could go into hand cannoneers. I think that probably makes a bit of sense, but we don't really have a lot of gold control here. We've only got the 2 relics. So, I mean, technically, we also have the gold that's coming through from our manors. Now, I don't actually know if they've changed the way that manors have worked. I don't think they have. So I think maybe for the Imperial Age, you're probably cleared to go up on that mana count. Yeah, and you can see that Daimyo's up to 11 manors here. So I think that's fine for Imperial Age to spam out your manors because each one of these is just generating a stock standard of 30 gold. So it makes sense to absolutely have those manors going for you. With regard to economy, how are we doing? We're sitting on 1,400, call it 2,700, 2,800. Not that good, not that hot, especially not compared to the middle game, the mid game where we were sitting at about 1.2k higher than what we are, so about 3.2. Meanwhile, Daimyo's economy is actually bigger than Driver's economy right now. And that's despite, I mean, the Vill count has come down substantially for Driver. Maybe it's just the fact that he's lost quite a bit, but now those Springwoods, those are really going to be a problem for Daimyo here. How does he deal with the Springords? I think the Yeomen are going to have to try and find a way through. But you can see the amount of damage that's being done. All this spears, the true counter to the House of Lancaster, may have been discovered in the form of the Macedonians. And now heading into the base of Daimyo, 44 minutes into this game. He's going to try and offend with all of these Springords. He's doing a wonderful job of just holding the line here. We hear attacks going off over towards the right side. I don't know exactly where that is. I can hear them going off. A Nesta B in the back as well, going to be slowly contributing, but he's working down these buildings very, very slowly. Varangian Guard towards the front, just holding for the moment. And now more and more Springords adding into this problem that Daimyo's got. How does he defend against it? The Yeomen perhaps need to think a little bit outside the box. I don't know whether or not he's going to be able to reach back here with his bows, but I tell you what, he definitely needs a little bit of a hero. Maybe some hobblers could do right now. But is it too much to ask for a tech switch at this stage of the game? It could potentially be. More and more units being added to the mix. Let's check in with Daimyo and see how he's doing as he's on the defense now, and you can see he's got plenty of units in queue here, but population has started to drop. I think this might be it. He's down 90 population over his opponent. Yeoman look for a decent connection, able to find it. Now looking to take out all the Springords, exactly what he needed initially. And now that'll clear out the position for his spears to come through. The only trouble is you're down to 12 spears. He's spamming them out, but he's just not spamming them out fast enough. 30 seconds? 30 seconds, don't tell me. Don't say it ain't so. No, Military Academy is something that makes me cry. I love Military Academy. It's so powerful just because it allows you to leverage things like that Wingard especially. But now look at Driver. Huge economy behind this. Not so much a huge economy, but a huge amount of resources in the bank means that he can just send it down mid. Varangian Guards, Horsemen, all of the archers on their way towards the enemy base, and slowly the Kairosophon start sieging down the landmarks, and I think Daimyo might know the jig is up here as the Lords go down. He's got none left on the field, 2 more in the queue. Keep in mind the Abbey of Kings on the front here could be terrible for him. If he loses that out, he loses all the bonuses to the health of his opponent, or to his infantry units that are on standby nearby. And unfortunately, they do go down, and we can see the Varangian Guard have dropped their shields and have started berserking. Huge amounts of damage. Look at that, 28 melee damage. Your ability to switch between these two definitely is advantageous. And now, working down the next landmark, we can see some upgrades on the way. It's Rompaya that is coming through for the Macedonians, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Driver able to finally drive it home all the way to the green, manages to hit a par. Actually, you know what, we'll call that a birdie. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check him out. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can watch him live, and of course, make sure you check out Outback Octagon for returning November 19.